A lot of times when I make these videos, my hair is wet, and lest you think I have a swimming pool or go to the beach, I don't, and I don't. But I often take a shower right before I do this because it helps me clear my thoughts, and it also prevents my poofy hair from going crazy because it goes crazy right now. And today I just had to cleanse off a lot of yuck. Um, Gosh, it's 7 o'clock already. I think I wasted this entire day, pretty much. And no thanks to Facebook. In fact, it was all about Facebook, um, which is funny because it started off so well, and I was coming back from a walk when a friend of mine suggested that I watch the Plandemic movie trailer, um, which, if you look it up, you'll see a lot of people are calling it, conspiracy theory or whatever. There are probably thousands of articles uh, debunking it or the doctor who's featured or whatever. And that part doesn't really matter to me. Whether you believe it or don't believe it doesn't really matter to me. Um, I thought it was pretty interesting. I got chills twice while I was listening to it. So when that happens in my body and I feel something like that, that's like my little signal for truth. Something is true, and it vibrates through me in a really particular way. Um, but it's so interesting to me how people behave online and um, how we treat each other. Not just right now, but right now in particular. And I have some other friends that have actually posted the link to this film, and there've been, some civil discussions on their feed about all of it, all of it. I believe it, I don't believe it, debunking the doctor, see this article, Snopes, that article, blah, blah, blah. Fine. That's not what happened on my wall. On my wall, everything that was posted was so full of anger and like the way that I received it, which probably wasn't intended, but it's certainly how I felt. It felt like, how could you be so stupid to believe that crackpot? And yeah, someone called her a crackpot, and I don't know. People were. It felt really angry to me, uh, and I didn't even get to the place of trying to defend the doctor or the film or any of that. And it turns out, like, I probably have 10 friends in common with the filmmaker. Two of my friends have actually had interactions with this person and said he's a really good guy. I liked him, I trusted him, I was going to work with him. So, and his name is Mickey Willis, and I was intrigued by the film. I was intrigued by the message. I was, yes, there's a lot of conspiracy theory behind it, but there's also this whole other aspect of we are doing the wrong things in as far as treatment goes, and a bunch of doctors talking about wearing masks and not wearing masks and why you do and why you don't, and anyway, lots of little bits of information, um, and yet people were jumping on my wall and saying, this is dangerous, you're spreading fear, blah, 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 blah. It got so bad that I was upstairs working, not working, because I was on this on Facebook. Well, it was actually happening in the background while I was doing some other things. And Sydney was downstairs, and he shouted up the stairs and he said, "Are you okay?" And, I kind of eked out a little reply, and he asked again. And then he came upstairs to see how I was because he could feel in his gut that something was wrong, which is so interesting, right? Like, this is where I think this is where I think the truth is. The truth is in our bodies. And my body was shutting down because of the kind of response I was getting here. His was feeling agitated in his gut. And he came upstairs to give me a hug. And I sort of told him and showed him what was going on. And he said, just get rid of them. Don't listen to them. He wanted me to just walk away from the whole situation, like walk away from the computer. And I said, do I need to delete this? Do I need to unfriend these people? And in the end, that's what I did. I didn't want to delete the post. I actually wanted to delete the people and their comments and leave the post there. But I don't know, the energy of it was already so negative, and I just imagined it was going to keep being negative for me. So um, I unfriended all but one of the people who commented, um, not because they disagreed, but because of the tone with which they replied and the anger they brought to their assertion that they were right and that I was obviously wrong and this whole film is obviously wrong. Yeah, because civility matters. I have family members who voted for this president that we have. I have friends who voted for this president that we have. I can't stand the guy. I think he's a lying joke. But that's my opinion. And I'm happy to say that out loud if I want to, or privately if I want to. But I don't say it with anger, and I don't say it on in other people's spaces or on their social media. And I don't try to convince anyone that they need to think the way I think. They don't. They really don't. Um, we are all part of this same thing together. Um, some people are really happy with this president. Some people are really not. And we still have to get along together. So I guess the whole thing to me felt like a bit of a boundary test. And I was failing. I was definitely failing because I was taking it really personally and I was feeling attacked. Like I said, even though it probably wasn't meant that way and it wasn't like personally directed at me, it was more directed at the film. I didn't care. I just did it. I really, really didn't like it. So got rid of the people, got rid of the post. And it's funny, I posted the exact same thing, the same. Well, no, I didn't. I didn't post the actual film. I just posted the question in a group that I'm a part of. And the question was, have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Because I really wanted to hear what people had to say. And the funny thing is, that post now has something like 130 comments on it. There are people that think it's all BS. There are people that think there's a lot of truth in it. There are people that say, sounds like some of it's true, some of it's not. I mean, really, there's a range. There's the complete range from black to white and all the shades of gray in the middle. But it's so civilized, the way people are responding, and no one pretends that they know. And no one pretends they have all the answers, and no one is shutting anyone else down. I suppose I should also say it's a group of it's called a woo woo group. I hate that term woo woo, but sensitive people, intuitive people, healers of all different varieties, people who do energy work, all that stuff. Um, so they're just not. It just doesn't come out with the same anger, which is so lovely and refreshing, and it's so much easier to listen to people who disagree when they're not shouting at you. And that's the lesson I learned today. And I learned that I need to walk away from people who are shouting, and it feels horrible. I don't care what it's about, which is also a really good lesson because every once in a while I'm shouting about something and Cindy tells me to stop shouting. Or Alex used to say, like, Mom, why are you yelling at me? I get it, man. It's really, really not fun. So that was my day of going into a big, deep pit. I ended up in tears over that post. I was crying because of how I felt from the people that posted. And I'm really glad I deleted it. And I'm really glad I unfriended those people. And yeah, I feel better. It's also really great to be able to take a hot shower and just feel like, oof, I can let it all go and have some healthy food and feel all like good again in my body because that's what I want. So that's what I'm headed to do. And I'm going to go make dinner. And I love that the sun is still shining and it's 7:20 um, on what, Thursday? Wow, May 7th. All right, so even a bad day can turn into a good day in the end.